I did everything right. I worked, I saved, I bought the apartment. And then one November morning, I woke up and thought, is this it? I wasn't depressed. I wasn't ungrateful. I had everything I was supposed to want. But I was exhausted in a way I couldn't explain. And the only thing that seemed to help, even for a few minutes, was picking up my phone. I'm not going to tell you to delete your apps. You've heard that before. I want to show you something deeper, why your brain was never built for the world we live in now, and why that's not your fault. For most of human history, a typical person might encounter a few dozen other people in their lifetime. News traveled slowly. Decisions were simple. Your brain evolved to handle that world. Then, in the space of about 20 years, everything changed. You now consume more information in a single day than your great-grandparents encountered in an entire year. But your brain is still running on the same hardware. It hasn't caught up. It doesn't know how to process this much input. So, it stays switched on, alert, scanning, even when you think you're relaxing. You think you're resting, you've finished work, you're lying on the couch, scrolling through Instagram or watching videos. It feels like downtime. But your brain doesn't know the difference between rest and consumption. It's still processing, still reacting, still working. You go to bed tired, you wake up tired, and you never quite understand why. This isn't a coincidence. Every scroll, every notification, every autoplay video, it's designed that way. There are entire teams of engineers whose only job is to make sure you don't stop. They study your behavior. They test what makes you pause, what makes you click, what makes you feel just anxious enough to keep going. Your attention is the product, and you're giving it away for free. You finish work, you're tired, and without even thinking, your hand reaches for the phone. No decision was made, no conscious choice. It just happens, like breathing. An hour passes, maybe two, and when you finally look up, you feel emptier than before. The things you used to enjoy, a walk, a book, cooking a simple meal, they don't pull you anymore. Not because you've changed, but because nothing competes with a screen that's been engineered to be more stimulating than real life. Your brain has been recalibrated. Ordinary life now feels slow, quiet, almost unbearable. And then there's the comparison. Everyone else seems to have it figured out. Their life looks exciting, purpose-driven, full of meaning. Someone your age just launched a business. Someone else is traveling the world. Another person seems to wake up every morning with energy and direction. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you know it's not real. That you're watching a highlight reel, carefully edited, filtered, timed for maximum impact. But knowing that doesn't help, because you've been watching it for years, and years of watching it rewires something deep. You start measuring your quiet, ordinary Monday evening against their carefully constructed best moment, and your life always loses. So, you blame yourself for not doing enough, for not being enough, for falling behind, though behind what exactly you couldn't say. You're tired, but you can't rest. You're bored, but nothing interests you. You know you should do something, but you don't know what. So you pick up the phone again. Think about it. You've just finished work. Maybe it was physically exhausting. Maybe it was mentally draining. Maybe both. You come home with one goal: to rest, to switch off. But instead, you open your phone, and within minutes you're reading about a war somewhere, a new virus, economic collapse, the future looking darker than yesterday. Your brain, already depleted, doesn't know this is just a screen. It reacts the same way it would if the threat were real. Cortisol, tension, that low hum of anxiety that never quite goes away. And then, when that becomes too heavy, you switch to something lighter. Mindless scrolling, dumb videos. Nothing useful, nothing meaningful, just noise to drown out the noise. You tell yourself, this is rest. But you wake up the next morning already tired, and the cycle starts again. Somewhere along the way, you disconnected from yourself. Not dramatically, not all at once, just gradually, quietly, scroll by scroll. Maybe you used to have ideas, a business you wanted to start, a skill you wanted to build. Maybe you liked working with your hands, like fixing things, growing things, creating things. Maybe you had a version of yourself in your head that you were slowly working toward. But that person requires energy, curiosity, the ability to sit with a thought long enough to do something with it. And now you're tired just from doing nothing, not from building, not from creating, just from consuming, just from existing in a world that never stops demanding your attention. You didn't lose your ambitions. You didn't become lazy. Your energy is just being spent somewhere else, on someone else's platform, for someone else's profit. Somewhere tonight, someone puts their phone in another room before bed, not because an app told them to, not because they read a productivity article, just because something shifted. Someone else closes their laptop and sits in the silence for a moment, uncomfortable at first, then something close to relief. Maybe you already know you're the product. Maybe you've known for a while. The question is what you do with that knowledge. You don't have to delete everything. You don't have to go off grid. But somewhere between endless scrolling and complete disconnection, there's a life that actually belongs to you. It's still there, waiting,